Hello, this is Bob74H back with another video today, and today we'll be discussing the HunterXHunter series, and particularly the Chimera Ant arc, because it's a big arc, and it's essentially two mini arcs into, one overall storyline. There's the first part of the arc, which is where they, meet Kite, they, go into NGL, and they, kill a bunch of Chimera Ants. But as of the later on, they get separated because Pito, kills Kite. And that's when the arc, diverges into the second part. It's where the king is born, and that's where that plotline starts up. So, my issue with the whole arc as a whole is that we get this hype for the queen. She never does anything. Chimera Ant Queen, that is. Not Zazan, but the Chimera Ant Queen. We also get a lot of disappointments or plot holes with certain things. Like, there's these two characters called the Orphono siblings, I think. Which is a redundant title, by the way. Because if you know anything about the Chimera Ants, it's that they do not have, sibling structures such as that, and even if they did, every single character would be a sibling to one another, as they're all birthed by the queen. They're all birthed by the queen, that is. So every single character is birthed by the queen, so they would all be siblings, technically. So this title of them being the Orphono siblings is stupid, considering every other member of their species is pretty much their sibling. So that distinction of them being the Orphono siblings is stupid. Also, there's many different, plot holes in the series itself. Like, we're shown that Chimera Ant Queen, right? She has, these eggs, right, that she lays, and they, stand on top of, her nest. So, when Meruem is born, via normal pregnancy, pretty much, it's kind of like, why would he be born that way when every member of his species is born via, eggs? The reason as to why is so we can get a dramatic scene of Meruem just killing random people for no reason. Because apparently he's supposed to be, relatable at this point, even though he's just a psychopathic killer. He just randomly kills Peggy. Peggy's I'll help the queen, as she's, bleeding out because Meruem, an idiot, decided to, exit the fucking belly early instead of waiting for him to be born naturally. So he ended up killing his own mother instead of being born normally. So what happens with that is, this penguin, as I said before, named Peggy, he tries helping her and he gets fucking offed. His head gets cut off. And he does this for no reason, mind you. And a few seconds later, he has the servant say, "I'll clean your tail off," because he offered another one to help him. But then he cuts the head off of him for no reason. It's like, why did you cut the guy's head off? He was trying to help you. It doesn't even make any sense. So, then we get this plot detail later on, that he cares so much for his race, so on and so forth. But then it's like, why did you kill all these members of your own race if you care so much about them? It doesn't make any sense. Also, there's this issue with, Taco, or I think it's Taco, or Elgio. I don't know how the name's pronounced. But the octopus dude, right? So, we get this detail that he can't kill people without, a host body because he gets nervous or whatever. And it's that doesn't make any sense, but it's a cool character detail. Why doesn't it make any sense? A, because he tried killing Killa in the cave when he had the gun. And B, it doesn't make sense because he was a soldier in past life. So, there's that. And also, he says that, he has memories of the past, but then he can't remember his name, but he can remember specific people he was friends with. It's kind of weird. It's very selective as to what he remembers, and it's conveniently stupid. And also, there's another detail that was of relevance here, and it's Netero's character. He suddenly goes from, this, optimistic, kind of joking guy, to, this cynical, evil person almost. Like, he tempts Meruem to fight him when Meruem's just sitting there. He's like, hey, do you want to talk, dude? He's like, I want to kill you. He's just like, I want to talk. He really comes off as a bad guy in that scene. So there's and with that scene, as I mentioned, there's an inconsistency because before he was portrayed, as I said, as this optimistic, almost joking chairman. And then it's stated he has like this hatred to like chimera ants. He's like, don't you dare look down on us humans, ants. It's like, well, why did you help Colt if you just seen him as nothing more than a, tool, It just doesn't make sense. It's like, why did you bother helping him if you just hate his species? And the same goes with, like, a lot of other chimera ants that are, like, decent. They kind of just get killed for no reason. Like, at least Zeno, when he killed Cheeto, it's consistent with his character. It's like, yeah, he's kind of just evil. Like, he's the same guy who's kind of fine with torturing his own son. But with Netsuo, you don't have that, history there where he's very dark and very cynical. He doesn't have that history or character there where Zeno does. Like, for example, Zeno, he was fine with his son killing him, Sylvia, I think it is. He was fine with his son killing him. And early on in the killer rescue mission arc, or whatever you want to call it, he was fine with his grandson getting tortured. There is numerous other details of him being, cynical and, bordering on evil. So, yeah, it just doesn't make sense for him to be this way in comparison to Zeno, who's blatantly a pretty bad guy. And also, it's kind of disappointing that he didn't do anything with Meruem. Like, he didn't fight him or anything. Like, the most he did was, like, drop some nukes on the palace, which was pretty badass, self-admittedly. But it didn't really amount to anything. Like, I guess it made Pito try to stand there and heal Kamungi for, like, an hour, when he didn't really need to do that before, but I guess that was a slight change in plot. But, like, aside from that, nothing would have really changed. Everything would have played out the same. So this was kind of stupid because his actions didn't really have any significance. Like, the dragon teleporting them was significant, but he wasn't necessarily required to do that. Anyone could have did it, including Silvo, because he had the real-life dragon instead of the Nen construct one. Also, all the Chimerians are given, like, huge amounts of character. Like, to the point that even, like, explicitly bad ones are considered good because they have redeeming character traits, so they're, not generally evil when they talk to others, or they don't come off that way. Like, Cheeto just wants, like, a good brawl, like a good sparring, for an example, and he doesn't really portray any malevolence or, evil towards humans. Unlike with Vugan or one of the Phantom Troop members, where they display open hostility towards pretty much anyone who isn't in their group. And even then, so they still attack others within their group, so it's still not really hostility towards others. It's hostility towards everyone. And the Chimerians kind of have hostility towards everyone too, but that depends on the member. Like, Zazan's kind of portrayed as just being heartless. She's kind of not even a character at certain points, because she's just kind of like a bad guy, which is more in line with, like, Phaeton or some other member of the Phantom Troop. But most of the members of the Chimera Ants are pretty much normal people, except they have circumstances which make them bad to the position of the heroes, which is a lot of the perspective that this arc tries to go for. It tries to say, both sides are kind of evened out here, and they kind of try to portray humans as a significantly more evil foe. And that's why we get a lot of perspective on Meruem, having human relations and almost loving this human girl, right? You know, on Offset, he comes off as this, you know, evil monster who just kills people. But, like, we as the audience, we know that, like, he's not this evil force. And even Netsuo, like, sees that he isn't evil, right? And he just fights him because he has to. That's kind of what we get the, you know, portrayal of. He's like, if I talk to him any longer, I'm gonna have doubts. And he still fights him anyway. It's like, yeah, so what was the purpose of that scene, when it didn't really establish anything? Anyways, back to what I was saying about, chimera ants. We get this, detail that they have memories of their past lives, and it's very inconsistent as to the extent they do, because sometimes they don't remember the real life name, sometimes they don't even know names exist, other times they remember the entirety of their, you know, real life name, or like their name before they became chimera ant. Like, it's very inconsistent to how and what they remember. And it's weird like that too, because it's pretty much stated that, you know, every single chimera ant, you know, possesses human emotions because they are part human. So wouldn't it be wrong to kill them under the preset that they are, you know, part human? The story never goes on to think about this again, but, you know, that's kind of a plot detail that is relevant to the morality of our characters. And, you know, don't say morality is, like, subjective and whatnot, because the story does heavily play on it being, you know, subjective, right? But the idea that it's not in the story is also wrong, because we have to follow a point of view, a POV, right? To say this is what the right is, even if it's not, like, morally right to say that, to say it's considered right, it's still what the story is portraying as the, you know, the right. So Gon being evil and beating up Pito until she fucking dies is portrayed as wrong. That's how it's portrayed. But that's not to say it's right or wrong. In real life, right? You could say him killing her is right from your perspective. Anyways, back on topic. The thing is with the queen, though, I'm going to address this for a bit, is her personality is very, very inconsistent. Because sometimes she's portrayed as, like, not caring about her fellow chimera ants, and then another second she's like, I only care about the king. It's like, okay. If you only cared about the king, and you didn't care about any other chimera ant, why go to the bother of naming the royal guard? Why go to the bother of, you know, having conversations with these wowy minions when you don't care about them? And again, there's other issues in this arc as well, like, you know, these guys knowing the passcode to the elevator that Beezev owns, the main characters knowing Beezev has, like, a sex trafficking ring. There's just a lot of knowledge and details that don't really make much sense that they would know. And Killa having this Godspeed form when he never used it before. You know, it's really convenient that he has it too. Like, there's just a lot of details that are inconsistent or just very convenient in this arc. But overall, you know, the relationship with Meruem and, you know, how that morally relates to the story was done pretty well. You know, the conflict between the two factions is done pretty well. Like, it's portrayed pretty nuanced. There's a lot of details that are done right in this arc, and there's a lot of details that are just done very, very horribly. Anyways, this is my, you know, review and or, you know, you could say tangent on the Chimera Ant arc. You can enjoy it or you can dislike it if you like, but anyways, this is Bob74H signing off.